Pam param param param. Hello beautiful people, I hope you are doing well. Today I'd like to show this pretty nice and pretty easy transition creating only with Deformer and no cloth simulation. And we will dive into the geometry itself, we will dive into the Redshift and build some first pretty simple stuff, and then we'll go and cover this scene itself with details. And I hope you will find it useful and something new for yourself. To create this effect, I will start with the object. We take the capsule, press NB to reveal the lines, and we need quite a bit higher resolution for this effect. Increase segments, increase caps, and I'll show you one approach to this, my approach, but of course you could do it in another way you like it. So in this case I want to take a remesher. Where is it? Here is it. Bring it here, and we have something different. We have quads right there. Increase the mesh density to something like that, and we have it, this capsule. Press C and start building our effect. So apply displacer just behind this object, go to the shading, pick layer, because we will layer up a few noises there. Go inside this, create one more shader and create noise. Now we have this effect. Go inside the noise, increase the scale, something like 333, and maybe play around with contrast. It's not that essential right now. Then we can take another shader, another noise, and right now we'll leave it as normal mix and shading, and change noise to some smaller one. Increase. We have this picking up, I like it. Playing with contrast, go back, and now we could overlay this noise over the previous one. So go with overlay and decrease the opacity. So we have these details. Of course you could layer up a lot more, but we will stick with that. This is our first effect. We go back to the shader, probably decrease our height, and we could change the type from center to intensity, but not in this case. Center work well. Also I will turn off workplace. We have it. This is a start. Then we need to transition from this point. Press NA once again, from this point to something like that, and this is the first effect. Go to fall off and create a linear field, which will do the trick, which will do the first trick. We rotate it by, in this case, up to -90, move it up, make it smaller, and we have it. This is our first transition from solid object to displacer. Basically we will use this linear field over and over again in different approaches. So let's start doing the animation. Go to the linear, press on this icon for the up and down, go 60 frames further and move it down. Press it again, and I will not worry about the linear or easy out for these keyframes. If you want to change it, you could go to this Y, right click animation, show F curve, Control A, and just press this button, and it will be a linear animation. Obviously I like it. No, what I'll do, I'll even increase the effect by dragging these handles with pressing Control to restrict the direction of it to the center. This will give us very slow start and just fast centered transition. So this is the first part, but this is obviously not enough. We need another effector, which will be our jiggle deformer, and place it below the displacer. And this jiggle deformer will actually do like jelly effect, something like that, but we will use it in a different kind of stuff. So we go to the object, go to the advanced, and bring our spring to 0. This is the first thing we need to do. Yes. Then we go with iteration and increase it for something like 20. Probably we will need to play around with these numbers, but I will decrease the stiffness to 30. I will decrease the structure to 50 and a little bit of drag. Probably that's it. One more thing I would like to do here, I will use the same linear field in this fall off tab. So the jiggle will appear only after the linear go down. Then this is the first step, and we will rename it to object. This is the first step. Then we need to go to simulate forces and create turbulence force. This turbulent force will do some cloth. We go with strength of 100 and scale of 20. But we need to link it somehow with this deformer. Go to the jiggle, and we have this forces tab, and drag this turbulence inside. So now we have something like that. So please increase the time duration of it, and we have it. You would say probably this is too fast, and I will agree with you. Go twice as slower as it is, and now we have this guy. So this is obviously too high with the strengths. Go to 75. Look at it again. So far so good, and I think for this effect this is pretty much that's it. This is transition from solid object to our jiggle turbulence. Oh, by the way, you could cache it, because when we just scroll through the timeline we have this, whoa, this is nice effect, but not this time. And we go to the jiggle. We could layer up some turbulence and more effects. We can go with another turbulence and make some smaller one, but I will not do this. You could play with another forces like field force, which will bring you to another level of noises and so on and so forth. But what I'll do here, I will go with rotation. Probably I will type like 20. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, maybe go with turbulence a bit smaller, of 50, and I need to see our rotation effect. So in this case it's a good practice to isolate your effect. So turn off your turbulence and left only with rotation. We have nothing. Why is it so? Because we didn't drag it right here. Once again, oh, this is too much of rotation. Go with 5. Once again, yeah, nice. and this will rotate it in that direction, and I want to change it, to be honest. Though this goes this way, probably just change it to 90 minus 90 and see what we got. Yeah, this is nice. Once again, a little bit smaller of that, and we will combine it with this turbulence. So nice. Now we have this turbulence and that rotation. In this scenario, we need to increase our turbulence because it's not enough. Yes. And this is our cloth or some jiggling material or whatever you need it to be. Playing with rotation, have different effect. And one more thing to do here is to have this gravity force going up. So take this gravity force from forces and bring it to 1. This will track your material upper. Yeah, I like it better. And again, if you have this pretty dense material NB or object I meant, or you have some lagging with your computer or so on, you could go to the jiggle, and this is a nice tab with cache, and just calculate the cache. This will be very fast, and this is a real-time calculation, and this goes very fast in this case, of course. Play it back. Now you could drag it and see what we got. So to complete our transition and make it better, you need to go to your material, which will bring your effect much to another level, of course. This is the case when you could show this one. So what I'd like here to do before we go into the material, we need to create a map which will separate these two materials, these two sides of this object, and have something like metal here and cloth here. In order to do this, we go to the point, select our object, go to select and create a set vertex weight. Click here, 0, OK. We have this vertex weight, and go to this vertex weight, use fillet and delete this freeze. And we will change this weight from 0 to 100 based on this linear fillet again, as I told you. And this vertex weight depends on our resolution. So if you have lower resolution, it could be not that smooth. Okay, once again, and now we have everything we need to have. So this is one material, this is second material, and this is our effect. So let's jump to the texture in itself. I'm back to the scene. This is the same setup as we have it before, but I added a camera, like 50 millimeters. I added 2 lights. This is a HDRI map light, like pretty simple. This one, I think. I changed a bit of exposure and I changed a bit of saturation. Sorry, and that's it in this case. And I have area light. Sorry to show you. Going back from your camera, this is your area light, which is changed from rectangle to disc and have different spread. In this case, more softer light, softer edges, and you could bring it to have this different look. Going back to your camera, what else could be done? We could hide this rectangle, hide this camera. We could hide this linear field from our view and just see our transition. So we have the object, we have everything set up. Oh, of course I need to show that this is a Redshift render, GI brute force and 4. Go to system and enable RTX if you have it, and in this case I enable automatic sampling and change backend rendering. So I don't need to change anything right there, just controlling my quality with adaptive error threshold. And of course GI could be controlled by these numbers. So first I will build this pretty simple material with general approach, when you have like one material for the solid part and the second one for this closed like part, and I will build this close with your simple maps which you could download from internet, and then I'll go to my main scene and show you just layer up different noises and different parts which will bring your material more to life. So create new Redshift material, assign it to this object, and you could have it. That's it basically. This is our look. Go inside the material and separate this guy. We have this material, and this will be our, for example, gold material. Go to your base properties and change it to copper. Change these guys to be more of like that color, a little bit less of this vibrance, I think. And we need to create another one. This will be our cloth. In this case it could be like very standard material, so we could separate it at the first step. So in order to connect this very fast, you could go to your tools, check these names, connect node to output, and assign shortcuts as you generally do in Cinema 4D. So you need to blend these two. Go to your material blender, connect the first one to the base material and the second one to the layer color 1. Connect this to output, and you have like overriding your first material over the second one. And what you want to do here, you want to create an attribute node, call it vertex attribute, and connect this vertex attribute with your map which you have done previously. You could connect it straight into your color, into the output, and see the result. And this is our mask. You could use your vertex attribute as a mask for layer called blend color 1. Connect this one and you have it. You have the separation between two colors. And I think what is changed here, this is our shader field. I changed this guy. So obviously you need to see it once more. I add a shader, I will add it once more. In this case, go with your shader, go with your weight wet, and go with shader, create a noise, go inside the noise and make it bigger, playing with contrast, go in with more contrasty look to have this peaks. Yeah, something like that. And then you go to the to your weight map tag and change this blending mode to overlay, and of course this will bring you another layer of variation when you go this for transition. So let's go further. This is a base setup for your transition over and over again, and then you have like two branches when you connect everything in the first one, which will affect your metalness, and everything you need for your cloth in the second one. We will build it like from these few maps I have from internet. Go to your folder. Oh, sorry, not this one. You could press Shift T for me and bring our first map, which is albedo map This is basically like our diffuse map. We'll bring it there, and the main approach for me is like using our true planar friend, use our math and constant node, which will drive our scale of this true planar map, and connect this guy into the texture image X. You want to connect it straight to the output to see our result, and we have this crazy result because we have 0 out there. So now this is our texture. We could use it to be a bit smaller, to be a bit bigger. No, not this way, but 0.5. This is the scale I like. So go to this tree planar, and you need to consider one thing here. As you could see, the object like goes through your texture, and to stick your texture to your object when you have a deformer, you need to go to the tree planar and change projection space-time from object to reference. This way you could have like all you need, all stretchiness and lines of your pretty nice guy there. So this is our first setup. This guy will drive every other texture map from one place. So you don't need to go there and change your scale 3 times in order to have a different scale. But in this case we have diffuse color and we have ambient occlusion. So take these two and drag with Control selected, and you copy this guy, go to this one and change it to AO. You have everything the same, and you need to just reconnect this constant node to drive your color. You could see this is the same, and this is our diffuse, and we want to combine these two into one layer. Go to color and go to color not composite. I think I would like to go with color layer. This is the same, pretty much the same node as we have here. So we connect this one to the base color, this one to the layer color 1, and to see something we need to connect this to output, and we override it with blend mode normal, but we could go with overlay and see that this guy just bring another level of details to our diffuse map, make it more contrasty, more shadowy, and so on. So we could drive this guy with diffuse color and connect this guy here. So now we have something. We could go to 0.1. Oh no, this is too much. 0.1 like there, and we have it. Yes, I like it. So this is the first layer of diffuse. Then we need something like roughness. We could grab these two the same, copy these guys, go to this node and change it to, in this case, displacer map will drive our roughness. I'm not too picky here, but of course you will have another precisely made roughness map for your material, but in this case I'll use this one. The more important thing that this is a black and white map, which is like 0 to 1 number, and we will drive 0 to 1 number in the roughness, the 0 to 1. And when you do that, you need to remember that in Redshift you need to change this texture from your gamma general to gamma 1. You need to linearize your picture to work with numbers. You could do it like, I think, 2 ways. You could either go with this guy, or you could color correct and bring this to input and change this gamma to 2.2. You could connect this guy to the output and have pretty much the same result as we have it before with this. Just you could use whatever you like better. I like to use it inside your texture. Just go inside a gamma and override to 1. This way you have like proper numbers for your roughness map. And I don't go with like technical stuff because obviously I'm not that skilled in that stuff, but just remember, when you use your color and diffuse color, or you could use a color for your reflection or refraction or sheen, everywhere where is color RGB 3 components, you don't need to do anything with gamma. But when you use your black and white map and you will drive something like, like roughness or weight, you need to change your gamma to 1. Of course, this applies to normal map as well. So here we have roughness map, and to change this range from our 0 to 1 range, you go to Scalar and change your go with change range node. Connect this to output and connect this guy to your material roughness. Again, you could go with texture ramp and do the same thing like visually, but I prefer to stick with this method because I have the precise number, so I know that we go from 0 to 1, whereas 0 is black and white is 1, and I know that whatever is black we go with 0.1, and whatever is white we go with 0.5. And now we could perfectly precise drive your roughness. Of course, in order to see this, you need to change the roughness to something like 10, and you have this variation in the map. Yep. I would like to show you better there. Disconnect it. You have this map and connect this guy back, and you have this variation from your map, black and white map. So go back to your material, change your IOR to 1.2 for this guy, and one more map left is our, just grab these two and connect this constant to this scale. Output is directly to your surface, and change this guy to normal map. Yep, normal map is our map for bumpiness. You go for a bump and bump map to use this guy. You could use it with texture, legacy and normal map, but I'm doing it right there. Input, go to your bump map, and you need to change the input map type from hype field, which is used for bump map, just black and white map, to tangent space normal, and change this guy and plug this guy to your material overall and bump input. So now you have everything you need for this setup. You could change this to 5 to see it better, and I like it better. I have this roughness, and this is like when you look at this from this view, you think, oh, this is very crazy and complex stuff, but in reality this is pretty common and easy stuff to do. Just repetitive thing like diffuse color, go to the diffuse layer. If I were able to create this space, again you have this roughness map, remember to gamma to 1, change range and go to roughness map and normal map. And of course you could have something else with more complex stuff, but this is general approach. And in this build, which is easy to do, which is nice to do, is like this constant map, constant node, which will drive our scale. We could change it pretty easily with only one number. And if you don't do that, you need to go to your tree planner and change your scale 3 times and have the same result. This is save your time. This save your time, and this when you could connect your node directly to your output will save you time, believe me. So Now what we need to do is, what we'll have to do is like this transition. We have this pretty nice transition, and we need to separate this with light, and we use this vertex map again. Oh, I don't need to copy it actually, I need to just create a ramp map and plug this into the ramp input. One more time, no worry, no rush with that. Go with the ramp and change our map to something like that. So we have our line, which will be in our case which will go to this guy and drive overall emission color. And to see that, you need to go to the material overall and increase your emission weight to something like 10, for example, and you have it. You have this pretty nice white map, white line. But we don't want to have it white, we want to have it something like colors. And we have this red over there. We don't do that, please. We have this yellow over there, which is this one. This is nice. We have this blue, purple over there. I like this guy. We could decrease this the intensity of this guy a bit more, and for example I would like to have this blue guy over there, a little less of that saturation. Purple could be more saturated, and this guy could go something like that, and less again. Oh, and now we have this nice transition for this effect. Again, go to your material and maybe decrease your strength to 7. Go away, and once again play it, and you see that this variation comes from sorry, stop it. I need to catch this guy, yeah, over there, maybe a little bit more. Yes, this guy comes from this vertex map, which is overlaid by this field, shader field. And these two materials, I think I cover everything I would like to cover here, and I will go to my main scene and show you more details over there, and I will show you the result. I set up everything, I think, here. Brute force, basic stuff. This adaptive threshold is our friend. I will render this guy and show you what we have here. Here we go. We have this result. I just like to show you this, the result of our tutorial. This is transition, and this is basically the same I have before, and I'm going to show you the rest of the setup. So hope you find that useful. You do you? We're back to the main scene. This is the result from our initial screen. Here is basically absolutely the same. I have an object, I have displacer, I have layer, a few different noises. I have jiggle deformer, which is like these numbers, and forces. I have another forces is here. I have turbulence with different setup and rotation, basically the same. What is different? So this is animated rotation, stance over there. We're going to go out and see. This is like very simple look. Different is our particles. This is like very simple again setup. Our clones. This is a cloner working in object mode, and our object is like this guy. This cloner populate cubes over our object, but we have this plane effector which is working with visibility over there. So these cubes I don't know how to show you properly. Yep, we could do it bigger. These cubes appear only when this plane effector, again working with linear, guys, this linear from here, linear field, this is the first linear field we have it. So we have these guys, and this cloner work with dynamic force have excluded these turbulence forces, otherwise it will just goes crazy. And it has their own attractor, its own attractor, which like pull it off because attractor works in negative strength, and we bake it everything. So, and this attractor constrained to this linear field again with this PSR constraint. We have it like linear field. I think everything you need to know. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z a few times. I just want to go back to my normal scale of these cubes. This is a very subtle effect, but I like it. So again, we need to go to Redshift user, turning on our preview, and this is a bit the same setup as we have before. You know, you have your material 1, your material 2. This is 2 branches, as I told you, and they blend it with this vertex map, which again has this color of this transition. But we have, this is a metal, yep, this is the same copper preset, but we have one texture for our fingerprints. We go and composite this texture with our noise, which like this breaks our pattern of this fingerprints. Then we drive a change range, absolutely the same as before, and go with roughness, you know, and this is our roughness. The same setup, going with another composite setup with scratches. We combine this result with new scratches textures and go with change range, change it like a little bit for our bump map, and we need to connect these two bumps into the same bump blender. Bump blender goes there, bump blender, and we connected this to bump, overall bump, and emission is just like our old friend from the previous video. This is our metal. This is the first metal. We go from our camera view and have these scratches and fingerprints and all over the place things, but when we go from this side, from this view, it's not that visible. And the second one is pretty much the same cloth texture, except we have this color correction for our diffuse, and again mixing with AOR ambient occlusion, and have bump and no reflection, I think. And in this case I combine this, I need to see it better. Yep, this displacer map with normal map. We could use again bump blender, and here you need to know that you need to activate additive mode to work with bump blender and increase your blend weight, because by default it's turned off, I think. And that's it. That's our complex but not that scary material. Of course you can go with variation for your texture. You could bring another noise and combine this for diffuse, for example. Not there. We just like here we have this color with combining this guy, but we could drag right here. We could use your, not this noise but Maxon noise, output it, have like black and white. Okay, this will be black and white, but go with something like there. Smaller octaves, bigger scale. Yep, this will have this wavy variation to our diffuse. And what could be done there? We could grow this check max and noise and connect this to layer color 2, to this diffuse color, and go to layer 2, enable it, override it. It overrides our previous one, but we could go with overlay and decrease it. So now we have this very little variation to our diffuse, but to be honest, this variation is what separates you from just pretty simple setup to complex. This complexity goes from this variation. I forgot to take it back. And that's it. That's basically it. This our cubes, this our material, and I think again, no, in this case we don't have it. Just that's it. I hope you find it useful, and we'll go back and see something else pretty interesting. Maybe we'll cover some pretty easy and starting point of UV map and 3D body paint in Cinema 4D, and combine that with Redshift and textures. We'll see. So have a nice day, and bye bye.